Coming up on Havers.
It might sound weird, like I still can't tell my grandpa, like I'm a chef. Like, you know what? It wasn't about the money. I think it was the approval. But
Yeah.
every now and then I would question. I'm like, is this worth it? And those kind of questions are like, it's a death sentence almost when I question what I think my purpose is.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on, man. Let me introduce you real quick.
Yeah.
We got a exec chef at one of my favorite restaurants in Boston, Trade. Chef Alavee Hassan. I hope I got that right.
You got that right.
And you are a handsome Asian man, the brown kind.
The brown kind, you know, not the other kind.
Not the
not the typical Asian kind.
Yes,
what people think what Asians are.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys get, overshadowed in AAPI month. People are like, "Oh, Asians, ching chong,"
Dude,
and you're like, "No."
They do not mean us. That's
yeah,
like,
I know.
Like
Well,
Indian Heritage Month. That's
right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Do you feel excluded though, or no? Like I'm Asian too. Like, do you ever think that?
Dude,
sometimes?
I do think that all the time. You know, sometimes.
You're Asian, man. You're Asian, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for recruiting me.
Yeah, dude. I remember you DM'd me too. You were like, "Well, I brought smelly food to lunch and got made fun of.
Yeah,
I speak
dude.
Asian languages. My parents made fun of me for dating white people."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, that's an Asian guy."
That is like,
they're
super
pissed
Asian.
that you're a chef and shit like that. So it's like, dude, you're definitely Asian.
It's like, it might sound weird. Like, I still can't tell my grandpa, like, I'm a chef. You know what
wow.
I mean? Like, he's gonna think it's not a profession. You know
you
what
just
I mean?
fully lying to him, or do you?
I said I work in like the hospitality industry.
Oh, he's like, "Are you a damn gigolo?"
No, I just don't expand on that.
Yeah,
just hospitality is hospitality.
Is he of the Indian variety?
He's Bangladeshi.
Okay, so similar kind of. Yeah.
India and Bangladesh used to be one country back in the day. They had a civil war.
Yeah, now they're
They
beefing
speak
a
different
little bit.
languages, different religion, different type of food, but people have a similar mentality still. You know, even if you divide up a country with a line, same people.
Dude, yeah, that's what. Yeah, I feel that. I only ask though because I know a lot of Indian people are into the hospitality game, the hotel game.
Yeah,
so,
hotel.
Yeah.
But when you say like Indian people in the hospitality game, you mean like they own hotels and they own chains. You know what I mean? Things like that. Hospitality for me is different.
Exactly,
you know
but maybe that's what your grandpa assumes.
Yeah, he's assuming
like,
that,
yeah,
and if
nice.
that's what he's assuming, I'm not gonna correct him.
Hey, that works, man. That works. So we want to get a little bit into your backstory. So, of course, you're the exec chef now, but where did you start? Like, how did you get into cooking, and what was your first cooking job, and why did you stay in it?
So I came to America when I was 16 or 15. 16.
And this was from where?
This was from Italy.
Okay.
So I was born in Bangladesh, then I was raised in Italy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And Italy, like, you grow up and you don't appreciate all the food that, like, I used to go to school for school lunch. I would have, like, pasta with Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
God.
Like,
can you say it again a little slower? Because that was hot, kind of.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Damn, this guy might be Italian.
Yo parlo italiano.
Yeah. Oh wow, and you have like a nice curl in the hair. It looks very Mediterranean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But so once I left, I like didn't take any of that for like I took it all for granted. Then I moved to Texas first, and Texas was just like hot dogs, burgers, barbecue.
And you loved it?
I loved it at first. I absolutely
because those are great.
Those are delicious. Brisket.
Brisket,
bro.
Yeah, that's the land of brisket down there.
So, but
meaty
still,
men.
there was like this thing. Like there was this like. Then we moved to New York, and I was like, I love food, and I'm a kid in high school. I need to find a job. I wanted to find a job and kind of make some money. Right, my sophomore year, and I started looking. So there was a restaurant in Harlem, New York, called Sylvia's. It is, if you look it up, it's very well known. It's a staple in the Harlem community. Like Journey's been there, Barack Obama has been there. Like if you are anybody that goes to Harlem, you go to Sylvia's Soul Food. Right?
Oh, okay.
So I started working there as a busboy, but busboys only get like 4 or 5 hours. So I would always like poke in the kitchen. I'm like, hey guys, can I help you? And the chefs would be like, sure, come in.
Wow.
So they would always like make me work another 7, 8 hours. And I really loved
And you wanted it though, right?
You
asked for it.
I asked for it. And I loved the feeling of like everybody joking around, everybody giving each other shit. You know what I mean? And it's constantly like the adrenaline. I think all chefs are a little bit adrenaline junkie. That happens over time,
Yeah.
But I just loved like If I'm like going, he's like, "You're not fast enough. You gotta go. We gotta go here. You know,
And
you gotta get those on. You know."
this was as a sophomore in high school. You were
Yeah,
already. That's pretty
yeah. That was
cool.
just prep, though. It was
Yeah,
prep.
yeah, yeah. But
But every now
you
and then
still
somebody
felt like
calls
you were
out.
joining. Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
yeah.
Every now and
That's
then somebody
cool.
calls out, then you jump on the line. You know,
Yeah.
I'll work fry. I'll do anything. I just loved it. And there was a guy named Andrew that used to work in that kitchen,
Hmm.
and he would always like tell me things. He's like, "Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you talk to girls.
Oh no
You
way.
know, that's how you don't get bullied. You know." And
So it's kind of a father, big brother figure.
yeah, exactly. And my father was in the picture that much,
Yeah.
so I really appreciated that. I still had an accent. I used to talk like this.
Do it
So
again.
I used to talk like this
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's
I
that.
didn't know how to, and that accent gets made fun of like
Yeah,
hella,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like especially in New York City.
I was gonna say New York. They got a lot of that. Yeah.
Especially your last name is Hassan,
Oh, dude. Yeah.
dude. I was a punching bag,
Oh
right?
yeah. And what year was this?
This was 29,
Okay.
2009,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2009. Yeah. Uh, then he kind of always is like, "This is how you dress. This is how you talk.
This is how you
You
get the
know,
hose.
this is how you get hosed." Yeah,
Yeah, so this is our producer Andrew.
Yeah.
He needs a little bit of those tips too, because he's right now
Bro,
going
let
through
me
it.
take you out. I'm out of the game, but I just wanna pass some of the
Yeah,
knowledge on.
because you should be the Andrew to our Andrew.
Dude, let's all go out.
Yeah, we
Dude,
should.
we want to do this. Rand can be a
I was
professor,
gonna
dude,
say
you know?
man, that's gonna be he's gonna have two great teachers if it's you
Dude,
two.
you're gonna. But that's what I learned. It's he taught me all those things, and he was the executive chef, and I really like looked up to him,
Yeah.
asked for his approval, and I did like I would go in early without punching in and just make sure he's ready to go.
That's work ethic, man.
You know,
That's
and
Asian work ethic.
I just like, you know what? It wasn't about the money. I think it was the approval.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was really about like he's like, "Dude, you're just so natural. You're so good at this.
Yeah.
You need to be a chef." And I'm like, it feels good when somebody says those
Right,
things,
right.
especially when you come from like you don't have a lot of family at home
Mhm.
and you don't hear those things. That means a lot, man.
That's so interesting. So prior to working at Sylvia's, did you feel like you wanted to be a chef or
No,
Okay, so you were just like, I just like food. I want to get into.
I think I like food, and one of my friends is like bussers and servers make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, so that's
Tips-wise?
that's why you initially applied.
That's why I got in.
Yeah,
But after a while, I'm like, okay, I make enough money with prep that I can survive.
yeah.
I don't need more money. I just want to do this.
Wow.
So that's where it started, man. That was my first restaurant at Sylvia's. I
Yeah.
still remember. I remember cooking for L.A. Reid. You know what I mean? The guy
Damn.
we did his like Thanksgiving at his house.
Yeah,
and my
yeah.
chef took me. He's like, "I want you to come with me."
Mhm.
So experience like how somebody like that at that level, we can make them happy. We can make them.
Right.
We can create something that'll bring a family together. That will, take you back, make you nostalgic about a place you've been to. And
Yeah.
it sounded corny back then, but I really was like, I really fell into it. I fell
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Kool-Aid, and I was like, I like that whole like idea. I like romanticize
Mhm.
being a chef, especially for the guy that I was looking up to was a chef.
That makes total sense, and it may sound corny, but it's also quite true. I think in a lot of ways, like because that food and hospitality can have that effect
It
on,
does.
on people.
I know that now.
Yeah.
It's I not just know that now. I think that's what I try to create now.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So the second place, right?
Yeah, yeah. So what? Yeah, from
Where did I
there.
go from there?
Yeah, it could be. What was the next big milestone, right? And maybe not directly after there, but like
Yeah,
something that you felt was a turning point that got you to trade where you are now.
sure. I think one of my biggest turning point in my career was at La Fina in Andover.
Oh, okay.
La Fina at Andover. Andover is a very.
How'd you end up in Massachusetts?
I ended up in Massachusetts because a friend of my dad lived in New Hampshire,
Mm.
and he told me I could come stay with him and go to school there, finish up school.
Okay. And so,
So-
then you got a job down in Andover, kind of close.
I started living in New Hampshire, and this is a few years later after I already worked my way up through the line
Mm.
and became a sous chef, and I was looking for my executive chef gig.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't take me long. I know it kind of sounds cocky to say that.
Well, I mean, given the work ethic you were talking about, I mean, it's not surprise me that you did it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it just like I think everything in the kitchen made sense to me.
Hmm.
Like there was nothing in the kitchen where it made sense to me why this should be done like that. It should make sense to me why you should treat people with respect. It makes sense to me why you show up on time. It makes sense to me why you never send out a dish half-ass. Everything made sense to me, and I'm like, it doesn't need to be told. It feels natural.
Right.
I think that's why I grew far. And my biggest thing was, if I didn't know anything, I would go home and just YouTube, Google, learn books. Like I read.
What's an example of that? Like techniques or dishes?
I didn't know like how to cut it properly, like how to dice an onion. Like I would always cut it, right? Like julienne it, then I would dice it, but it would all fall apart on me. So like the way you used to keep the stem on, slice it, cut it halfway so it doesn't all fall apart. I didn't know that, and nobody in the kitchen that I was in showed me, and I was struggling. I'm like, there has to be a better way. I've seen chefs do it, but they do it so fast. I'm like, dude, I don't know. So I went to YouTube, looked it up. It didn't, obviously, I didn't know it right away. I bought like 10 pounds of onions at home, and I just did that at home. It wasn't good, but like a year later, it got good.
Dude, I fucked my finger up super bad trying to do that because I YouTube the same thing, but I have a dull knife. So you know what? That second step where you have to go this way.
You have to go like that.
Like
this,
it just, I was like, God, and I was like, oh fuck. But that was tough. Do you have any tips on how to cut onions and not cry?
Yeah, you know what the trick is?
What is it?
Have a really sharp knife so you don't bruise the onion. It doesn't release all that things, and it goes into your eye.
Oh,
if you're a sharp knife, you're cutting through it. You're not like smashing it.
Right.
That's
okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
And I'm just wearing safety glasses.
Dude, like swim goggles.
You just have those on. Crying underneath.
Exactly. Okay.
But I also think I think experience is a big thing. Like I used to work at Duave in downtown Boston.
Okay.
They had a French onion soup. We had to cut like 50 pounds of onions, julienne, like every 2 days.
Yeah.
And then after you do that for a month, like, you know what I mean? You could tell me the saddest story. It's not.
You got like calluses in your tear ducts.
Exactly.
That's wild. All right. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. You were saying, at the end of a restaurant.
Yeah. So
in what way was that kind of a turning point for you in your career?
Yeah. Andover, Alafina, they were a very fine dining restaurant, very high end. Like entrees would be like $85 to $100 range, and they lost their chef, and they were looking for someone. So I went in, talked to the owner, and his name is Paula Rosa, and I saw a great team, but there was like not a lot of cohesion. So he brought me in, and they were growing. So they had Lafina, La Rosa is another restaurant across the street, like casual Italian. La Fina's fine dining steakhouse. Right next to that was Privé, which is a nightclub, like tapas style food. So it was like a lot of concepts going on, and I wanted that challenge. I'm like, I can do all of it.
Oh wow,
Yeah. But I started there. I think what is a milestone for me. That's where I really blossomed as a chef and got to be creative. I got to find out, what do I like cooking? What am I good at? What's my type of food? I think chefs often struggle. Sometimes I've seen people that are extremely talented at their job, but they have a really hard time thinking outside the box. They have a really hard time with the creative side.
Yeah.
And I believe that's because you never had a creative outlet at any of your jobs.
Yeah.
You were just so you were forced to kind of think very linear. You were not given the opportunity to be like, whatever you want.
Right.
Where Paul is like, you want to cook Indian, Italian, steak, and Greek, and Mediterranean, Asian, no problem.
Yeah.
I had like a lobster curry with XO.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I would turn around, then I would have a tenderloin with like Bruno. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would have all different kind of things. I had like any kind of, I had pork belly, then I would turn around, I would have cod. So I think that doesn't usually happen with people. You don't get to try everything, but I got to try everything.
Yeah.
I was everywhere because as a chef, you want to do everything.
Right.
I like at home, I make steamed buns like once a month.
Really?
I love like pork steamed buns with just pickles and hoisin,
Dude, that's so good. I love that too, man. Yeah.
But he allowed me to just explore, and I did. But then it kind of helped me focus. I went everywhere, so I knew where I wanted to go.
Okay, yeah, no, it makes sense. So I think it's kind of like when a writer or whoever, it's like finding your voice in a sense, right? Because oftentimes if you're working for other people, you don't have the freedom to experiment with what you want to do, as you were saying, right? But when you do have that, then you can kind of say, what is it that I'm trying to say with this dish? what is the message, the story I'm trying to tell, right?
Exactly.
And so
like, what are you trying to convey to the person?
exactly,
Is
yeah.
it just sometimes when you're young, you just like want to do everything. You're so
Right.
excited, you're so grateful for the opportunity, and you just like, to be honest with you just want to prove how good you are,
Yeah.
or how good you think you are, right? And you've seen all this cool things. I love David Chang. Like I lived in New York, so like Momofuku. Like I wanted to do fucking ramen.
Oh,
then
yeah.
I love Marco Pierre White. Then I wanted to do like fucking pig feet. You know what I mean? Like it was just everywhere. Like I could not focus. But what that does, as you grow, you cook everything, you try everything, then you learn like, this is my road.
Exactly.
This is where I want to go.
Yeah, yeah. I think
But you
for
have
any
to try all
creative,
that.
exactly. Yeah, I think it's super important for anybody in any creative field to try all the styles,
Yeah.
as many as possible, right? Like when they say in like sports, a lot of the athletes that train different disciplines when they were younger,
Yeah.
they end up being better at the one that they end up picking.
100%.
Same thing with artists, visual artists, right? You paint in the classical style, but maybe you end up doing something super modern. And with cooking, it seems like that's kind of what you're recommending as well.
I think so. I think it's also one of the things that I think I would recommend to young chefs. It's important to find where you belong, but it's also important to not be complacent. I think I really grew when I learned something, everything I could, then went to the next place. Didn't look for money necessarily. I took like salary cuts sometimes, which it hurt me financially.
Right.
But like, there's been times where I took a half a salary.
Oof.
I was like, give me half, I'll just come.
Yeah.
I went there, worked for a year, learned everything they had to, then jumped on to the next place. Sometimes hopping around looks bad on your resume, where people are like, you're just hopping around. You cannot settle down. But it also has a benefit where you learn everything you can. You go through different chefs. You absorb like a sponge almost. You absorb everything you can, different cuisine, different styles. Then when you're like a little bit older, your late 20s, early 30s, then you can be like, okay, this is my repertoire. These are the group of people I see myself with. That's where I'm gonna settle. But you already have all those skills in your books.
Can you give us an example, like a concrete example of maybe like a skill that you were like, I want to learn that, and then how did you find out who to go to learn it, and then where did you go and how did it work out?
Yeah, that's so funny because I was like thinking about that. So before I was working, right, I got a book called Modern Gastronomy, right? It's about all the modern techniques, liquid nitrogen and everything that's cool that was going on.
What's that dude who was doing all that shit? Like, is that
Grana
Alan? No, who was that? The weird like white guy out that do the WD-40 whatever that restaurant was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Ducasse? No.
No. You're thinking about Alan Ducasse.
Yeah.
No,
that wasn't him.
Oh,
Wiley Dufresne.
Wiley Dufresne.
Yeah. I knew it was like one of those.
The microwave cakes and all those. So I think like I was doing food that was really good food, like more classical stuff, more casual stuff. But when I looked at that book and I was studying, El Bulli is a restaurant in Spain. There were 3 Michelin. They were doing all this modern techniques. Grana Cuts at Alenia were doing all these amazing things, right? But then I feel like I'm like, dude, I want to learn a little bit of that. I cannot go to school. I cannot afford to at this point in my career. I'm too far gone. But where do I go to learn some of the modern techniques with like some of the modern like presentation with classical techniques? So I kind of like research all the restaurants around here, and I'm like, okay, I can go to Boston. I can take the train to Boston. I used to live in Salem, New Hampshire at that time. I'm like, and I gotta find a chef who knows some of these things and who I see. I found 2 guys, right? Ken Oringer at Uni.
Yep.
And Chris Coombs at Dual.
Oh yeah.
So I used to do a catering for a guy who used to live in Boston that knew Chris Coombs, right? So I did an event at his house. I did like a 7-course dinner. And when he tried to pay me, I'm like, don't pay me. Just do this for me. Do me a favor. Make an introduction. Just pay for the ingredients that I just cooked for you.
Right.
Just make an introduction. I need a job.
Yeah.
I stashed there, and they're like, what do you do right now? I'm like, I'm a sous chef. He's like, you're going to have to come in as a line cook. Because obviously, this is a different level.
Right.
That point, you take like a 40 grand salary cut from a sous chef to a line cook again, hourly rate. And that really hurt me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That hurt because you get used to living at a certain level of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like imagine you can count on 70 grand. Now you're making 50, 40.
Yeah.
You know? And you're going to Boston, which is an hour away.
Yeah.
So I really thought hard. Like, I'm like, can I afford this? I'm like, no. But I'm like, is this going to make me better?
Mm-hmm.
If I just sacrifice a little bit and just work a year and absorb everything I can, 3 years down the line, will I be a better chef?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes. So I took the job. I started working at Chris Coombs at Duaf. Worked there for like 9 months to a year, and worked the line, worked like almost every station. And I felt like I learned everything I needed to learn, and I just couldn't like make it anymore financially. I went through all my savings. Then I went like back to, I'm like, okay, let me go be a sous chef somewhere else. I already know how to do this.
Wow. So what were some of the things you learned there?
I think so some of the things that I did there, like sous vide, right? Sous vide has never been a big thing at like any restaurants that are casual. He does a lot of things with sous vide, how to break down a duck, how to break down a fish, how to break down chicken, how to make like, sauces, how to actually use traditional techniques. Because when you become a line cook, and even if you become a chef, if you worked at casual restaurants, a lot of those things you don't know. You only know what's on your menu, or what's the menus you've worked on. You know dishes, but you don't know the skills that you don't know the method to get there.
That makes so much sense. I never thought about that, but that makes sense, right? Because why would you?
Why would you?
Yeah.
You learn the dishes. You're copying.
Yeah.
You are an assembly line, but you're not the engineer.
Right.
You don't know how to get there. You can see a dish, you can replicate it, but you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. If you're searing short ribs on all sides, why are you doing that? What does that do? You know what I mean? That when you sear meat in high heat, it causes like a Maillard reaction. It like pulls out all the umami. It sears the meat so it doesn't get dry. It traps in all the juices. You've done those things, but you never knew why you've done it.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Huh.
Now you've had people that went to school that has that experience, and they have taught you better. Because of the places you were working at, somebody might have showed you that, but that guy doesn't even know why he's doing it.
Wow, yeah.
They're just passing down tricks.
Right.
They don't know why they're doing what they're doing, what that does to a dish, why it's necessary, why it's not necessary. I think that's very important as a chef, because it's hard to be creative if you never know how you got there.
Yeah, because then you're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
You know how to make a carbonara, but you know exactly how to make it. But if I tell you don't have one ingredient, you're going to be lost. Because you don't know steps by steps what's necessary, what can be substituted, what can be left out, what can be changed. How would you know how to get there if you don't know why you do what you do?
Yeah. No, that makes sense, and that's such an invaluable experience then. So then how did you get from there to trade? Like how'd you meet that group and get involved?
So I'll tell you this. So I was working like 75, 80 hours weeks, right? Like a lot, right?
Where were you at the time?
At like La Fina.
La Fina, okay.
So very bad relationships, miserable.
Oof.
Never see your significant others, never at home, always exhausted, zombie mode.
Yeah.
If you're in the kitchen, you're aware. As soon as you walk away, like tunnel vision. You're on your phone, placing orders, making sure somebody didn't call loud, doing inventory, making sure your budgets are good.
Yeah.
But then at one point it got there where I wasn't creating anymore. I was too overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And to be honest with you, it was like a really bad spot at the end for me.
Yeah.
Like mentally, it was just, I think like I wasn't present. I would be talking to you, but I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think when people are overwhelmed with just having too much in their brain, I think people can get there. But it's hard to, like, I don't know. For me, whenever I feel anything like that, I feel like I don't recognize it in the moment. I'm just like, this is what life is. And then afterwards, I'm like, whoa, I was fucked.
I realize it now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it then.
So what did it feel like then? And why did you make that change?
And then I thought it was fine. I'm like, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I can do this. I'm healthy. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm not upset. But every now and then I would question. I'm like, is this worth it?
Right.
You ask, like, do I like cooking? And those kind of questions are like, it's a death sentence almost when I question what I think my purpose is. Like, when you start questioning, I know my purpose is to be the best chef in the country. Like, I don't know if it's just a matter of time for me.
Yeah.
So when you start questioning, I'm like, can I still do this? Do I even want to do this? Then it's like, you're like, fuck. No, I love cooking. It must be what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? So I think the other thing was my significant other. We sat down and she had a talk with me. She's like, "You're not happy,
Mm.
and we're not talking. You're very distant. I feel like a roommate,
Mm.
and I think it's because of this job." So I had to be objective, and I had to be like, "Can I make it better while I'm here?
Mm.
Is it me? Am I burning myself out, or is it the environment?"
Mm.
Right? Sometimes you have to draw a line. This is what I'll do. This is what I won't do. If what I won't do, like, isn't good enough for them, then you have to look elsewhere.
Mm.
If you're like, that's what I'm willing to do, and they're like, no, we need more from you,
Right.
and you cannot do any more for your own health and
Mhm.
mental health, then you're like, it's just not a good fit then,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Then I took a few months off, right? I think I took a few months off, and I realized at that time, it might sound really weird, I kept having like allergic reaction. My tongue had this white spot,
Hmm.
and I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't like eat anything.
During your time off?
Yeah, no,
Or
before,
before?
right
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Mhm.
And I literally feel like it was a reaction for me being in such a bad place mentally. I was just so unhappy. It was like showing up in my body almost.
Wow.
I know it sounds weird, but like I could not sleep. I couldn't eat. I was just upset. I would yell at people. I wasn't the
Wow.
person I want to be,
Yeah. No, I mean that's crazy. I've heard that can happen though, so I don't think it's like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's a coincidence because
Yeah.
I think the mind and body they're so connected in many ways that I think if you're really going through something in your brain, like it'll show up in your physical as well.
I remember like I remember I would wake up at night and I would like talk in my sleep and I would
Whoa.
say things like, "Are those ready yet? Can
No
I get
way.
table 35?" I still do that like once a month. I think all chefs do that. I don't know. Chefs will relate to this. When we go to sleep, sometimes I hear,
Oh.
is the tickets coming out of the machine?
Yeah.
You hear it in your sleep sometimes, and then you're like, "Is that ready?" Then you say shit like that.
That's crazy.
Dude, every chef has heard that. Like
Yeah.
every chef heard that phantom ticket at night, and sometimes she'll be like, "Hey, wake up."
That's crazy.
It's like, "You're not at work." Then I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
I got a friend that always wakes up and will scream racial slurs.
Oh shit! Isn't there a word for that? Like when you just yell out random.
Yeah,
things when you
Tourette's.
come out? Tourette's. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's got
Is
like
it that or
nighttime Tourette's. Like during the day, I've never seen him have Tourette's. But yeah, nighttime
That's funny.
Tourette's. But yeah, how'd you get to trade?
So after that, I was looking for another place, and Jody Adams had she had a article, and she was talking about how trade was going through like a leadership change.
Mhm.
She had a few people that didn't work out
Mm.
that came in. She had high hopes for them that didn't work out, and she's in the kitchen now, and she's looking for somebody to take over. And Jody Adams, I always had like a tremendous amount of respect because one of my biggest goal within the next few years is to win a James Beard Award.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's my goal. We were at Chicago with Eric and them a year ago. So James Beard Award, it's like that's when you're like you made it as a chef in America. That's like the highest without a Michelin star. That's like the highest like caliber you can get.
Right.
She has one of those. I don't. So you automatically have a respect for her.
Yeah.
Right? And she came up from a time where it was very hard for women in the kitchen, and she lasted, and she's still freaking beasting on everyone. You know what I mean? After that many years, is a legend. And the thing is, you look at some other chefs that has been in that spot. Either they got burnt out, they retired, or they couldn't do this.
There's some scandal,
Oh,
sexual harassment.
I think we know who we're talking about. I'm not gonna say names,
Yeah,
but you hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jody Adams has been she's been there. It's like a rock. She's been great. And on the article, she's talking about work-life balance, right? That just like that one, like, huh. Nobody ever talks about that.
No,
most owners are like, dude, you gotta grind. If you're a grinder, that's who I am. We gotta go. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a grinder.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about how work-life balance is a thing. You know what I mean? We're cooks. Nobody talks about that. And her article said she was looking for someone who wanted a work-life balance and who wanted to be creative, who wanted to be mentored, who wanted to take over. And at first, I looked at trade and I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. But Boston just like was too far. Then my fiance, she's like, no, this is it. You need to reach out. I'm like, I know, but I don't know. She's like, no, you need to reach out. I reached out to Jody. We talked on the phone. I sent her my resume, and I had an interview in person. Then Jody and Eric invited me to Porto.
Oh yeah.
And they had me do a tasting for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a blind tasting. She was like, make me a Greek village salad. Make me a whatever you want for like a starter. Make me an entree. Make me a dessert. Just make sure they're Mediterranean, right? Tell me the ingredients, and I'll get them for you. For me, I was like, I'll just go to your walk-in and just pick things out. I'd rather do that than like plan it out ahead of time. I'd rather see what you have and just work with that.
Yeah.
You know. So I went in, I saw Porto, and I saw how the staff was. The biggest thing is like you see how staff treats each other, how they talk to each other, how they're getting treated by the owners. And I was like in awe the way she talked to like a dishwasher, the way she talked to a prep person, the way she talked to a line cook. Very calm, very understanding, very helpful. And I was like, is this a front? Like, what's going on? Is it going to come out once I start? Like, what's going on? Then I asked almost anybody, and I've been with the company for like a year and a quarter now, and I haven't, till this day, I had not one person be like, Jody treated me bad.
Wow.
Jody treated me with disrespect. She had a bad day one day. And that was that. And I did the tasting for them. I cooked it all, and I'm pretty sure they were impressed that they offered me the job that night.
Yeah.
But I had to go back home, think on it, look at the money. John Mendes reached out. I talked to him. He was on vacation. I came to see the restaurant, and with their blessing, I started.
Amazing, man. That's such a great story. Do you remember what the dishes were that you cooked?
Yeah. For village salad, it was a traditional village salad, and the funny thing is, they had a Greek salad, village salad at trade at that time. But on mine, I did it with like some other greens and arugula. And once we opened, Jody's like, "Can we do the Greek salad that you did?"
Oh, that's so funny.
I did a branzino with the briam. Briam is like a Mediterranean ratatouille with like roasted peppers, roasted eggplant, zucchini. I took the branzinos off the bone and I pan-seared the skin. Did like a citrus with fennel around the top, like very earthy, very fresh. Then I did a for starter, I roasted off beets. Then I blended some beets and I whipped it with like Greek yogurt. I never done that before. But it came out like a mousse almost.
Wow!
And I used that as a bottom.
On the job interview.
I always do that. Like
That's awesome.
if you ever come to the restaurant, you can bring me ingredients. I'll cook with them.
That's so funny.
Always, dude.
Great...
anytime, sometimes somebody comes in, I'll just go in. I'm like, let me see what I have.
Yeah.
I take pride in being able to do that.
Dude,
right?
I might have to start doing that just for a series on Instagram.
Dude,
just
I think
bring
like,
you weird shit.
What I said, right?
Yeah.
One of my suggestions was this, right? I'm like, why don't we grab somebody, right? I proposed it to Brand. I'm like, grab one of your friends, female, you know, give them a basket, take them to the store, have them pick out a protein, a vegetable, and some other things, whatever. Yeah. Then we both get those and we start cooking.
That's so fun.
Like a chopped almost.
Yeah.
But dude, that would be a fun thing to do.
Absolutely, man. Like, that sounds like a great time.
I'm like, I'll cook. And, you know, every now and then we can do a cocktail. So you don't lose
exactly.
everything, you know?
Exactly.
Because I know you're going to lose, you know? But I'm like, every now and then we can do a cocktail. I'm like, I think that's a great idea.
That actually is great.
I think that's a fun time, you know? And, you know, every 20 minutes we can take a shot, you know?
Yeah.
See what the dishes get, you know?
Man, dude, I love listening to chefs talk about food. I think it's so crazy just the way that you guys think about it. And so
what way?
I just like the way that you did the attention to detail. You remember every ingredient, why you chose the certain decisions you make. And even when you a lot of times when I talk to chefs, I say like, what dish has inspired you recently? What have you had that made you think? And you'll sit down and just talk about like, oh, I had this mushroom salad the other day that like it just...
Is it just a chef thing or people can't think
Well, I don't think a lot of people generally do. Like,
I don't know like many of that ingredients. I couldn't really tell.
I can tell you what I ate a week ago on Monday. You know?
Oh yeah, that's definitely it's either a chef thing or an autistic thing. I don't know, but but
I think we'll go a little bit of both.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean
exactly.
I think for a lot of like casual diners or just people that consider themselves foodies but don't cook, it's just like, oh, that was bomb, or like I didn't like that, but we don't have the language or the knowledge to say. You
don't know why you didn't like something.
Exactly.
You don't know why you like something. You know? I think like one of my, I love making like random things, right? Like when I started a trade, like I like So you know that thing you did at trade, you like the sauce that goes in the bronzino, the
Yeah,
green
yeah,
sauce. So like, so that's how you know like where my like how I learn different things and how I adapt them. So it's Mediterranean food,
yeah.
right?
Right.
That sauce is made with cilantro, which is
Mhm.
not a Mediterranean ingredient,
Mm.
parsley, dill, olive oil, lemon, and guess what else?
Uh,
3 crab fish sauce.
oh, no way.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because like it's like you don't like I have that. I know it's gonna taste good because I worked at a ramen place. I know
Yeah.
what that does to a sauce.
Wow, that's
You know what I mean? Things like
fascinating.
that. It's like all my if you go in the trade kitchen right now,
Yeah.
it's like with so much respect to Mediterranean food, but I don't feel like we should be restricted with Mediterranean ingredients.
Right, right.
If I can show a piece of fish the utmost respect and highlighting Mediterranean ingredients, doesn't mean I cannot make the best. Like I cannot make it shine even more by
Mhm.
adding a few things from different culture, different techniques,
Right.
different things that are not considered Mediterranean. You know?
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what pushing the boundaries is, right? So
Yeah.
that's great. What are some dishes that you're really proud of that you've come up with recently?
Recently?
Yeah, or just at maybe
Oh
we'll say at
no
trade
no. Let's say
in your
let's have
career.
the last menu change, okay?
Okay.
So we just changed the menu like a month ago or so. So I'm not a baker, right? This is
Yeah.
a funny story. I'm not a baker at all. I suck at baking. That's something baking is more like instructions, right?
Mm.
You follow instruction, you're precise. I'm not that.
Oh
I
yeah.
like I like throwing shit together. I
Right.
like tasting. I don't use a tablespoon. Like I just
Mm.
like to be like I just like to freestyle rather
Mhm.
than just be very precise. That's a baker's mentality, right?
Yeah.
But I realize I need to learn some of that.
Mhm.
I don't have a pastry chef, so I have to come up with the desserts, right?
Mm.
So I wanted to do a cheesecake for Valentine's Day, right? And I wrote it on the menu, and I was like, okay, cheesecake sounds great. Marshmallow, oh, brulee marshmallow, that sounds cool. Strawberry foam, that sounds good. Maybe like brown butter graham cracker, but instead of making it like that, we can just crumble it all over,
Mm.
like frozen raspberry. I'm like, that sounds great. But how do you get there? Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know how the fuck to make a cheesecake.
Right.
So I give them the menu. She's like, oh, that sounds great. Jody's like, yeah, let's
Mhm.
do it. Then I start making it, and it does not come out good.
Yeah.
I make it day after day, it doesn't come out good.
Mhm.
But after a while, I looked it up. I figured out different ways. I cooked it like 100 different times.
Mhm.
But then when it finally came out, it came out like so perfect, and it's still on the menu. I think those are the things because it was an obstacle, right?
Right.
That's why you're so proud because like the swordfish is great, but it's something like it was easy for me because the
Oh
savory.
yeah, yeah.
But dessert, it's something that's challenging. I don't know how to make it. I
Yeah.
have to learn, and I have to overcome these obstacles to come up with a great dessert.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes me really proud.
That's
Right?
cool,
You
man.
know,
There's a lamb pie, right, on the trade
that's
menu.
yeah, dude.
Did you bake that one or
Yeah,
no?
man.
So, but that's baking, right, or no?
So no, I'm talking about lamb pie was for a lamb jam. You know what lamb jam
Oh,
is?
I've actually, yeah, I heard of it. I've never been. I really wanted to though.
Yeah, so lamb jam is this thing where American Lamb Association, like American lamb doesn't get sold enough. New
Mm.
Zealand and Australia, that's
Mhm.
where your lamb comes from, right? But American lamb, they're trying to promote American lamb. Colorado lamb is beautiful. So what American Lamb Association does is like every city, they have a bunch of chefs make a dish focused on lamb. First course, small bites, right? And they all compete.
Mm.
People vote. Like different people go taste it and they vote, and whoever has the most vote, they win,
Mm.
right? And you win you don't win money, you just like win an opportunity to cook
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
a James Beard House or something, right?
Mhm.
So last year, right after I started, Lamb Jam started, like a month
Oh.
later or something, right? And I was still getting settled down.
Mhm.
And at that time, Jody's like, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to participate?" And at that point, I was so new. I was still like trying to learn Spanish to
Oh.
speak to my people
Oh yeah.
and all that thing. And I'm like, I'm really like drowned, but I don't want to say no to Jody.
Yeah.
I just want to say yes to everything. You know?
Right.
So I'm like, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
She's like, sure. What are you gonna do? I'm like, I'll let you know in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, so I go in the back. Then I'm like, I love like you ever had a what is that, like braised beef with potatoes and carrots?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
ever had that? Like
Yeah.
I love that type of like hearty dish.
Very
in the
hearty,
winter.
very savory, just
Exactly,
like
with rosemary and
comforting.
thyme.
Yeah.
I'm like, what if I braised lamb, shredded apart,
Hmm.
put it inside a pie, but put potatoes in there
Hmm.
and put cheese in there and put the sauce underneath, so it tastes like a winter potatoes,
Mm.
hearty lamb with like a rich sauce underneath, make something like that.
Yeah.
I told her, she was like, great. I made phyllo from scratch because
Mhm.
we're a Greek restaurant. I'm like, it needs to be a little bit of Greek. So I'm like, let me learn how to make phyllo.
Wow.
So I made the phyllo. I did the lamb. I didn't win that year, but what ended up happening, it became everybody's favorite dish. So we still have it on the menu.
Yeah.
Eric Papacristo is literally like, we're not taking this off.
That's so funny, dude.
And after I made it, everybody who's like born and raised in Greece,
Mhm.
they're like, oh my God, man, this reminds me of my village. I'm like,
Wow.
dude, I invented that. They're like, no, you didn't. This exists. You ever create something, then you're like, I made this.
Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
look it up, you're like, oh, okay, it
Yeah,
exists.
nothing's new anymore, right? That's so funny.
But it was that take on it that was new. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Usually they'll put the filling in there, they'll cover it with the pie
Mhm.
filling. I like rolled it up, made it, and to be honest with you, this morning I was asking my prep guy, I'm like, how many are you making? He's like, chef, we're going to like 70 a day, so I gotta make a lot. You know, I'm like, that's one dish I don't think I can take off
Yeah.
because it became like such like a favorite.
That's so funny. I love lamb, and I remember that lamb pie being very good when I went last.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you try it?
I tried.
What
yeah.
else did you try?
Dude, it was that, the Branzino, and then what else? Those were the two that I remember the most. There's got to be another thing too, but I forget.
Yeah, so on the menu, there's definitely some classic things that still
Mhm.
belong to Jody. Pita meze,
Mm.
mushroom flatbread, spanakopita, which is
The
spinach
spinach,
flatbread, eggplant,
Mm.
meatballs. Beside that, everything else is new.
Mm.
That I'll usually give it to Jody. I'll do a tasting for all of them, Eric, Jody, and them. They'll give me criticism. They'll give me feedback. I'll improve upon it. Do a final tasting. Then we go live.
Wow, that's pretty sick.
But it's
man.
becoming more and more. Like in the beginning, we used to do like 4 or 5 tasting. Now we do only 2.
Mm.
Like I think I'm gaining that trust. They understand like what to expect now. They know they can trust me a little bit more. I
Right.
think every menu change is becoming more like, oh, we don't need to do a 3 tasting. We're sure it's going to be good.
Mm.
Just make it for us one more time so we can check. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So you're earning that trust, and I hope to get there at one point where they can just come in and just try new things and be like, let's go.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? And I'm learning, and I've learned a lot since I started. I think Jody focused me a lot.
Mm.
That's one of the things I was struggling with. Like on a dish, I use like 10 different things. I want to
Yeah.
do this. She's like, okay, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to taste? What is this trying to convey? What do you want to highlight? So then I'm like, okay. Now I have a questionnaire.
Mm.
Like for chefs, I don't know if it's useful. So I have an Excel sheet. I come up with a dish, then I plug it in my Excel sheet. It says like, what is the purpose of this dish?
Mhm.
What is it trying to convey? Is it in season? Is everything in season?
Mm-hmm.
And is it covering all the senses like salt, sugar, creaminess, texture? Are you covering? Does it cover all those bases?
Mm.
Then like it's kind of like making sure my dishes cover everything. It's just like a foolproof plan. So I'm like, okay, there's no texture in this. I
Mhm.
have to add something that gives it a little bit of crunch, a little bit of texture.
Wow, that's actually fascinating because I have a almost identical like questionnaire for when I do my voiceover my videos.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, well, who am I trying to talk to?
Yeah.
What do they care about? Is that mentioned in the video? Like, is it somehow like weird or funny? Check or not check. Like, is this something that they might share to their friends? Is it something that might cause them to comment on a video? Like, it just has all of that laid out, almost like a checklist.
Exactly.
And I'm like, if I can hit all these, I know it has a higher likelihood of being a successful piece of content.
I think that's just like, that's something you learn with like experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? In the beginning, I would just, it's good. It's
Right.
delicious. My dish is good. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted to make. Okay, now let me plug it in. Let me see if I have all the boxes.
Yeah.
If it checks all the boxes, the chances are it's going to be a well-rounded dish.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
Yeah, that's funny, you know?
That's so crazy. All right, let's do another shot, and then we're gonna shift gears a little bit into relationships.
Fast and Furious. Drift.
Man, this is so much fun, dude.
Me too. This is great. I'm having a fucking blast.
Dude, it's like, I think it's one of the biggest thing. People always ask you questions, but it's never like question that makes me think or makes me reflect.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think I appreciate it more. People always is like, "Oh my God, are you a chef? What's your favorite dish to cook?" I'm like, it's hard. Like it's like, what's your favorite song? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
What's your
so
favorite race?
But I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But But I think it's like when questions sometimes because I don't ask myself these questions.
Right.
But you're asking me makes me like reflect, makes me like look back and kind of just like, okay, that's where I am.
I love that, man. Yeah, I'm glad that you're getting something out of it too, because it's definitely amazing for us and the listeners as well. But you touched on this a couple times in your story,
Yeah.
which is your now fiance.
Yeah. I keep bringing her up. Right?
Yeah, and so we have to talk about her, which is like you mentioned earlier
Hi,
off.
babe.
You mentioned earlier
I wanna
off
give a
camera
shout
too.
out to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, go
But
ahead.
you were saying like she was just so patient and was with you through some dark and some messed up times when you were acting kind of like worse than you should have been. So can you just talk about? All right, let's start at the beginning. How'd you meet? Where were you? All that.
So this is gonna be a funny story, man. You're not gonna believe this. When I first moved to Salem, I went to school, right? I couldn't work at a restaurant right away. I was still in high school, and there was nothing in Salem, New Hampshire I wanted to work in, right? So I started working at the mall at Abercrombie.
Oh, nice.
So I did that for a year.
What were you?
Like I would just stand out there.
Oh, you were one of those guys.
yeah, dude.
Oh shit.
Super. I think they
You
were
were the
just
only,
trying to
like-
fill the race
I was
quota.
gonna say you were the tan one.
That discrimination. you know
Yeah,
what I
exactly.
mean?
Because it's New Hampshire. They're like we
Yeah,
only
dude,
have.
they're like, we gotta have a brown guy. We
Yeah.
can't get a black guy. Brown
Right,
is the closest we're
right,
gonna get. You know what I mean?
They were like just pretend to be
Yeah,
Mexican.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I started working there in high school, but I thought like it was the coolest thing. Girls,
Oh, yeah.
loved, like,
Of
dude, girls would
course.
come in and they're like, "Hi, like, what's
Yeah.
up?" You know what I mean?
Dude, literally just the fact that you were the Abercrombie model probably got you so
Dude,
many.
like I would wear flannels to school with flip flops, and like you just
Yeah.
got so much.
and you were probably
ass.
smelling good.
Yeah, you wear the store gets like sprayed by the perfume all the
Oh,
time.
wow,
You
yeah.
know, like on the walls, so you
You
smell
go home-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you have the underwear sticking out, and
Ah.
you just feel like, dude, in high school, you're like,
Dude,
I'm the
yeah.
shit.
Oh man.
You're
See?
so cocky, you know.
That's crazy.
And she used to work there,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I used to talk to like every girl that worked there.
Oh, so you're a little player, huh?
And like I think that every guy at
Yeah.
that age like either was or was trying to be, right?
True, true.
That's just the honesty. But
I was shy in high school, I think.
were you?
Yeah, yeah.
How shy though?
I just like if I were working at Abercrombie, I probably wouldn't talk to the girls.
Oh, okay. Would you'd like fold clothes in the back?
Yeah.
No, he talked to the dudes, but he wouldn't talk to the girls.
Hey, as long as you talk to somebody,
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think what it did for me, it helped me gain a lot of confidence.
Hmm.
It helped me because I think I found also I became like in Texas, I was the kid that was quiet, that was shy. I was very self-conscious about my English.
Mhm.
I felt weird talking, so I didn't talk. But in New York, I kind of came out of my shell working in a kitchen. By the time I came to New Hampshire, I came from New York.
That's so true. Coming from to New Hampshire from New York, you're like these.
Texas to New York,
Yeah.
you're a hillbilly.
Yeah.
But in Texas, you're not a hillbilly. I'm just a Muslim. you
Right.
know?
Right.
But from New York to New Hampshire, I would walk into school with like G-Shock and like pants. You know what I mean? Girls like, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Midtown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know? It's like, where do you go to school? I'm like, I went to school in the Bronx. What's up?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you have that mentality. And then like in New York, you talk to girls are different in New York.
Yeah.
Girls are much better. They're not innocent, you know. You talk to a girl like, what's up?
Oh,
you know, I didn't
yeah,
do that
yeah,
like
yeah.
back in when I was young. But in New Hampshire, they're like all innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Go
that
to
mentality.
church and like.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
I started working at Abercrombie and I was the shit. I was friends with everybody. And like I dressed really nice. I smelled really good. So I talked to every girl because I was just like girl hungry.
Right.
at that
Why
time.
not? Yeah.
And my dad, like when I lived with him, I'm from a Muslim family, so very strict. I cannot never tell him I have a girlfriend.
That's haram, right?
No sex, haram.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like sharmuta, halal. You know. So, but I really got away from home, and then when I finally had a chance, I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh yeah.
blonde girls everywhere!"
Yeah.
You know, typical Asian
The
kind of
American
mentality.
dream. Yeah.
So I met her there, and we started talking, and we went off and on for a while. Then we broke off for a year. She went to UMass Amherst.
Oh, I
started
went there.
cooking. Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys will have something to talk about.
Yeah.
But I used to go see her. That school was amazing.
Crazy, huh?
Crazy parties.
Yeah.
Great food.
Yeah.
Great food. I
It
remember
actually
you guys
did
had
have pretty good
sushi.
food. Yeah. For a college, it had great food. Yeah.
So I met her there. We went off and on, off and on, off and on. I would see her, but I would I remember always going back to her.
Mm.
I remember no matter what girl I talk to, that's the one person I care for.
Mm.
I'm the one person she's ever been with, besides like one other ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right? She hasn't dated anybody else beside
Yeah.
me. So I think at some point in my career where I was living in a loft and she had it was a big loft. I didn't have any furniture. I finally got an apartment on my own. That was like beautiful high ceilings and stuff. I was making money. And she came to sleep over one night and she never left.
Oh, wow.
She just kind of like, one shirt at a time, took over my drawer space, bought furniture, started furnishing. And I'm like, I guess you
Wow.
live
And
here
this
now?
is the spot in New Hampshire you're still at?
No.
Okay,
We
okay.
moved since then.
Oh, okay.
But now we live in like the Tuscan Village area.
Oh,
But
nice.
after a while, what I realized is this, right? Even though I went through like that childish moment, she was the one person she's like always supported me.
Yeah.
Sometimes if my car broke down, she drove me to work. She helped me write my resume. Like that type of girl, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That girl that's like, hey babe, I have your chef coat ironed out. I have your shirt ironed out for your interview.
Oh, yeah.
You need to get up.
Real ride or die girl.
Dude, I wasn't her ride or die all the time, but she was always mine.
That's so beautiful, man. And so like when you said you were like being a bad boyfriend for a certain amount of years, what does that mean? Were you out there like talking to other girls and like
that obviously happens where it's like I didn't appreciate what I had.
Yeah.
So, I was a chef, I was young and
what age are like young 20s?
Yeah, early 20s. Yeah, early 20s. Yeah. After my 21st birthday, it just became like a blur for a while.
Wow, yeah.
But I realized I always missed her, but then after I would see her, I would become an asshole. You know what I mean? Once she would leave, I would text other girls.
Yeah.
Some girls would come over me, and I hated that I did that. But I think in order to be here, I had to be there. You know what I mean? Like I learned how to appreciate her.
Oh, okay.
Once I went through that phase.
A little bit of like, I just had to get it out of my system.
Yeah, and I'm like, no matter how many girls I've seen, I never cared for any of them.
Yeah.
You're the only person I've cared for. It sounds fucked up for me to say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, till this day, I haven't met one girl where I'm like, you talk to me for 10 minutes, I might be attracted to you.
Right.
But I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I cannot listen to, like your aspiration, your dreams, what do you want to be? You don't make me feel like who I really am. She does. And like, till this day, like this morning, I got up. She's like, here's your outfit for tonight. Here's your chef coat.
Wow.
Here's your breakfast. I'll see you tonight.
Amazing,
like,
man. She sounds so great. Like,
and she is probably and me, like I told you, I don't have a lot of family.
Yeah.
She's been there for me.
Yeah.
She's my family. We're like, that's my family. That's my person. She knows my biggest shortcomings. She knows my darkest secrets. She knows things that I wouldn't even tell God. You know what I mean? She knows those things. And I'm at peace with that. And 7 months ago, I was really thinking, I'm like, I'm going to marry her, obviously. But since I was an asshole all this time, this is going to be the greatest freaking wedding ever. Yeah. We always go to New York. That's where we go. Because chefs always get like day and a half off. Like you get like Tuesday and Wednesday. Like, who's fucking off Tuesday and Wednesday, dude? Like, you ain't trying to go to the club on Wednesday,
Right.
But we would always go away. We'd go to New York, go out to eat. Like, we would always go to like, we were at Momofuku like 2 weeks ago and had this white caramel chocolate that we're in love with, that we always go back. We go to like, we go to different places. We go to this Indian restaurant that one of my friends runs. Akshay, he has a Michelin star called Junoon. So we always go there to have food. We go to Chinatown to get massages. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they give you an hour massage for like $40. You can't beat that.
Yeah. And you do it together?
We do it together.
Wow.
And so we have memories, right? So I took her to New York. We went to Central Park. We're like, oh, let's go out. And I had a guy there waiting, a photographer. She didn't know about it. We were walking down. We went to the fountain in the middle. I got down on one knee and proposed.
Amazing, man.
I wanted to make her romantic because I'm the least romantic person.
Oh, really?
I'll be like, babe, remind me, when is your birthday?
Oh, shit.
Dude, I'm horrible. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this the best and make it up for all the fucking shitty years. So I'm like, not shitty years. We grew together.
Right,
and we knew each other since 17, 18.
Yeah.
Now I'm 31. Like, we raised each other almost.
Do you ever think about when you met? you ever think about like how she was when you met and everything, and think about like the first time you guys kissed or hooked up or anything?
I do, and it's not. She was folding jeans at
Oh.
Abercrombie. I talked to her for like a day. Then I walked over, I lifted her up, put her on the table, and I started kissing her.
Damn, that's a damn HR violation, I think.
She never said anything.
Yeah.
She never pushed me away.
That's awesome, dude. That's fine,
That's
bro.
our first kiss.
You really are. You got it all.
It's a
Yeah,
haver.
he really is, man.
What?
You got it all. You're a haver.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I think it's.
Well, you have
It
that.
hasn't always been like that, man. Relationships weren't always perfect, but I think the biggest thing was we decided no matter what happens, we're gonna make this work.
Mm.
It doesn't matter the consequences. Doesn't matter what happens. This is something always worth saving. You know.
Yeah. Well, when you were in the quote unquote shitty years, like you weren't really officially together, right? For a lot of
We
that.
would be together, then I wouldn't text her for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Then she would think we're together. Then I would. Some girl would post a picture with me and her.
Oh
Shit
yeah.
like that. Like I'm just being honest. That's
Yeah.
what it was, and it's not something I'm proud of,
Dude, I
but it
feel
did
like-
happen, and I made her cry. Like there's been times I left Amherst, she wouldn't even see me. I would text her, she wouldn't pick up my call. Then she's like, "We're done." Then 3 months later, I'm like, "I can't live without you."
Oh,
You know what I mean?
wow,
I'm that
yeah.
fucking asshole.
Yeah. Because what I'm trying to get at is like how, because a lot of people have a really hard time building a relationship while they're building their career.
Yeah.
It's a theme that's come up a lot. It's like one part of your life has to be stable for you to start building something else. But it seems like for you, you just kind of got lucky. Like if not for her, you probably would be single, right?
I swear to God, dude, I don't think even my career would be where it is.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was like, after one point, she was like, I'm like, babe, I'm gonna leave this job. She's like, no, shut up. You're gonna go back to work. This is a good place for you.
Wow.
Or I'm like, babe, I really love this job.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you are not working there. Those people do
Wow.
not value you. I'm like, I guess so. You say so.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I think
She
that was
sounds
like in the
perfect,
early
man.
years. But since I was like 26, 25, like for past 5 years, we've been building up.
Yeah.
Everything we do is together.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to her about my work every day.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
You need to focus on grooming your sous chef. So if Eric has another project, you can jump on it. So somebody can take over for you. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. Let's plan this out.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, they're like, this is how much we have to save. You want to go on a honeymoon all over Europe? This is how much we need.
Yeah.
That's how much you're going to put away. I'm like, okay.
Right.
She is the adult in the relationship. I just follow like orders now.
Wow, that's
Which is,
really
I
good.
like to do because I think at work, nobody tells me anything.
Yeah.
I'm the big dog.
Yeah.
My friend circles, nobody tells me shit.
Yeah.
So at home, I'd like somebody guiding me a little bit.
Yeah.
And with her, I can honestly tell you by looking in the eye, she has never lied to me once.
Wow.
In 10 years, never a lie. And I can tell you that, like, without her, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying all this because I never said it in public. And I wanted her to know.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think she always felt like I don't talk about my relationship in public because it's private. But it's literally like, I don't think I didn't achieve a lot with my relationship till now. Now I'm like, okay, we're getting married in January 19th. Like, we're ready. We got engaged. I have a great job. She has a great job. We're going to have a bunch of kids. And this is going to be awesome. My kids are going to all work in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes. Child labor.
Asian style.
Yeah, man.
Free labor, man.
Free, like line cooks. I need like
Exactly.
7, 2 for prep. We'll be good to go.
Yes,
baby.
that's awesome, dude.
They're gonna have 7 kids.
I need 7 to run a line. Bare minimum, I need 7.
That's amazing,
Like,
man. Yeah.
Dude, but God, like, whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't predict
Right,
the future. I'm not very religious, but God willing, I want to have some kids.
Yeah.
I came from one child, like, you know what I mean. I want
Yeah.
that family vibe. I want to
Mhm.
go home and like. But I think that sounds very romantic when you say that. Once it starts happening, you're like, "What the
Oh,
fuck
dude,
did
yeah.
I do?"
Children are, that
They-
whole process. Man.
I saw kids at my pool party the other day. I'm like, they look like just drunk people. Like,
Dude, yeah.
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You gotta change this. You gotta change this thing, Like,
Right. Yeah, children are literally drunk adults. But yeah, no, I think this is a good transition. Children. You mentioned like you don't want to be a decision maker, right, at home. He's like, oh,
No. I mean, she tells me like things like that, but bigger things,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it.
What about in the bedroom?
Yeah, I'm in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm completely in charge. She's
Okay,
very
alright.
like submissive, very gentle. Where
Oh.
I'm the guy that's like, if you get like
Yeah, you're doing like
dominant on me, that's gonna really fuck me up. That's
you
gonna,
do what?
That's gonna like
Oh,
bother
dominant.
me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in charge.
You're flexing the whole time.
Yeah, like I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm making weird faces.
Yeah, the mirror.
I'm making weird faces. I'm forcing you to make loud noises.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
But no. I think I like. It's for me. It has become a like bedroom life has become very different. Before it was all about like something. Now it's more meaningful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more like, you ain't smashing, you're making love. Like it's
Right,
different,
right.
It doesn't happen often because we're so busy.
Yeah.
But we'll try to like we always now like we're off on the same days, so we keep one day to either go out on the lake, go on a boat, go out to dinner, and one day where we just sit at home and just spend time with each other, play games, watch TV,
Like Jenga
talk
or
to each
what?
other. Huh?
Like Jenga? What do you guys play?
We've been playing like puzzles and Monopoly Go. Dude.
Oh, okay.
Monopoly Go. You ever play that? The card game?
That's cute. No, I haven't played it.
Yeah, we played it during lockdown, and we still do it. Man.
That sounds.
I'm making
so
traditions.
wholesome, dude. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Like in the morning, she makes like apple pancakes before I wake up.
Oh man,
Dude, I'm telling you, my love life is like
damn. You really got it all.
not all, not the height, but.
Oh man, dude. So I mean, so do you feel like there's because you guys have such busy schedules?
Yeah.
Do you think there's ever been a time where she might have been like looking like she's like, this is just not enough for me, you know, like I want to see him more, and then because I think a lot of people in relationships, if one person's got so much going on and the other person might have more free time, it's like, you know, they're looking for more fulfillment. Did that ever become a problem in your life?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Should I ask?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it seems like it's all working out now.
No, but I think what we always had is this, right?
Yeah.
She's an esthetician, right?
Okay.
So, to be honest with you, we had this conversation career-wise. If I open a restaurant today, she's going to quit tomorrow and work with me.
Oh, cool.
Our main focus, we talked about this. I'm like, do I need to support you? Do you need to support me, or we support each other? She's like, no. I love my job. I'm very good at it. I like it. But you are the passionate one in this relationship. I will support you. We focus on your career as a couple. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
so she has, as far as like she has told me times like, babe, we're not spending enough time. But she has never been like, hey, this is not working. She's always been like, I'm gonna put it on your calendar. We need to spend more time. I haven't seen you this week. What's going on? So what day are you coming home early? So let's spend time. Like we have to. There has never been like, let's look elsewhere. It always has been like, what are we doing wrong? Let's figure it out. Let's look inward. It's always been like that with us.
like so. The reason I'm interrogating you from all these angles is that like I want to make part of the podcast is like, how do you make successful
time?
Relationships? But it seems like it's just all her. Like I should be asking her these
Dude,
questions.
You should, but no. You know what I've
You're
done?
just like, oh yeah, she just like puts it on my calendar.
No, you know what she's done for this relationship? Like what I've done, she's off Sundays and Mondays.
Okay.
I found a job that I'm off on Sundays.
Oh yeah.
That was the biggest selling point, to be honest with you. I make my own schedule, so I always make sure we have the same days off. Before we never had the same days off. That's important, right? I'm sorry. I always sleep in late, but now I'll make sure like I wake up early before she goes to work, so we can talk.
Right.
So these are the things. Like when I go home, she'll be on the couch waiting for me. I make sure that I'll go to work a little bit early so I can leave a little bit early. So when I go home, she's still there. She's not asleep. So those are the things. On our days off, sometimes like we might be feeling lazy. I'm like, no, babe, let's go out to dinner. So once we're out, we're gonna love it. It just sometimes it sucks getting out of couch, but once we're out, we're gonna do that. So those are the things, right? Like, so I think I give her so much props, but I do actively try. Like once a week, I'm like, shit, do I have enough time for her this week? Like, it's always like, I think it's a decision. People, when they're like, time management is a hard thing with relationship and career. It is hard, but I think you have to like make a decision what you're willing, what you're not going to sacrifice. I am not going to sacrifice my relationship over a career.
Yeah.
I won't. I just won't. So I need to be good at it where I don't have to work 80 hours. I can get my job done in 50. I have to be more productive in those 50 hours than I would be in 70 hours. I have to manage my time really well at work. I have to hire the right type of people who I can trust. Like I came on your show. It's a Wednesday night. They're alone.
Mm-hmm.
I have to build a team where I can trust. I'm leaving you guys in charge. You're good? Chef, we're good. Go home. Like that.
Yeah.
I built that. That doesn't happen over time. Building teams is one of the most difficult things, you know. But I think we're getting there right now. So right now, where I'm like, okay, babe, Friday, Sunday, Monday, we're home together. Friday, Saturday, I go into work late. Let's go out, you know. Wednesday night, I'll leave early. Let's go out to dinner. She'll come to the city. She'll meet me, or I'll go home. Things like that. We go to the boat in New Hampshire. So we'll go out to the lake. We'll go out to dinner. We go out in
your guys' boat.
Her mom's boat.
Okay,
her
nice.
mom's like loaded.
Yeah.
You know, white girls.
Damn, she really got it all.
But we also do things like we go on adventures. Sometimes we're like, I want to make this recipe.
Yeah.
We got to go to 5 different stores. Some of them are not in this state. Let's go.
Wait, what? What do you mean by that?
Like, we'll drive around.
Wait, why do you have to go to a different store? Is it because the ingredients are rare, or because
there's this place in like Western Mass that has like dried ribeye that I want?
Oh wow! So you have that specific of ingredients.
Yeah, but then like we make a day out of it.
That's so
we'll
fun.
We'll make a road trip. We'll stop, get coffee. We'll go out. We'll look at it. We'll walk around. She'll stop by a freaking Whole Foods. She'll buy fruit. I'll buy meat. You know.
Yeah.
Then she'll go to freaking look at furniture. Like we'll make a thing out of it. And with me, no matter what you do, let's say we're driving. Let's listen to a podcast. Let's listen to music. Listen to a comedy show. Like I don't want to have any time. Like if I'm with you, I'm gonna give you 100% of my attention.
Yeah, being present is super important. Yeah.
And we're gonna make a thing out of it. If we drive to New York, we're gonna this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
The drive is gonna be fun.
Dude, yeah.
I'm in charge of like the fun shit. She's in charge of like the bills.
Oh yeah. Dude, I had a friend who we were driving back from New York one time after a bender of a weekend. It was me, my friend in the front seat, and then our Filipino girlfriend in the back.
Our?
No, not just like a female friend.
Oh, okay.
And she,
it's like me and my guy, our girlfriend in the back.
She passed out, and he was like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this opportunity." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then he whips out his iPad, and then just starts looking at porn, and then just jerked off in my front seat while I was driving, and our friend was asleep in the back. And I think that's what you mean by a good drive.
That could be categorized in other ways too, man. You know, Me Too movement's getting real strong. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
He didn't jerk off on her. He was just jerking off.
I know, bro. But that's okay. What if I do this right now? I'm not doing it.
If I was asleep, I think it'd be fine.
I think.
What do you? No harm, no foul. What do you think?
What if you woke up, dude?
I don't know.
Yeah, then it's a problem. But if she doesn't know,
doesn't
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
like definitely
opportunity. Imagine like she's your friend. She wakes up, she sees that. She's gonna think you were on her like 2 seconds ago.
but then he has an iPad with.
Yeah, see that's. I didn't think about this as being like
I don't know,
problematic until now.
Like, to be honest with you, right now, you know what?
What?
I think like I'm so scared to do something like that
because
it terrifies me. I'm like, what if she takes it the wrong way?
Yeah.
I think restaurant culture.
I would never do it, but
dude, restaurant culture became like back in the day. Chefs used to do some shady shit, dude.
Really?
Like, dude, come on.
Like jerking off in the kitchen?
No, like taking people to the walk-in and.
Oh, yeah.
Clapping chicks.
Clapping chicks in the walk-in.
Yeah.
Everybody clap chicks in the walk-in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But offices, banging servers. That's a thing. But I'm saying like nowadays with
the
everything
culture,
that's going
culture,
on,
everything.
now you're like, hey, you say that, you're like, shit, was I too loud? I apologize. Because that is the culture.
Yeah.
I think so. I think especially a lot of chefs are getting like, right and left.
Yeah.
So you learn to become, I think I've become uber sensitive. I'm like, jerking off? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to jerk off.
Yeah.
But I think,
But no, I mean, maybe it is problematic. I have to invest. I have to think about that myself.
Dude,
I don't know.
Don't make it a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's who I am because I'm like, dude, what if she wakes up and she's like, I did it on her, and she talks about it to someone.
He did it on.
Imagine the situation that puts you in.
It would have been awkward. Yeah.
You're like,
but he just came on himself in the front seat, and then asked me for if I had an extra T-shirt. I was like, no, dude. But yeah, no, that
this is though. I mean, when I was younger, I used to always like just pee in the car. Like I would get a bottle.
Yeah.
I would just pee in there and just pour it out all
Right,
the
right.
time. You know, I remember when I first came to America. So this is a funny story. Overseas, people pee on the street all the time.
Oh yeah, I've seen
That's a
people
normal
take straight up
thing.
shits on the street.
Okay, but no, pee, dude. I'm like, where you? I'm sorry, man. I'm like that went too far. I'm like, that's gross.
I've seen it.
But people pee on the street
Yeah.
all the time. So when I first came to America, right, I was in. This is a funny story, but so I was waiting for my friend. We were gonna go golfing. He was gonna show me what golfing is. I never golfed in my life, so
Yeah.
I'm waiting downstairs in his house, and he's late. He's taking a shower. I really had to pee, and there's this like 300-pound African lady with like dreads and like really big,
Oh yeah.
where she's like having like obese,
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah.
like 400 pounds or something. She comes outside and she's just hanging out there. I'm like, shit, dude. How long? I gotta pee. So I
Yeah.
get out of the car, I go in the corner, and I'm like peeing. I get back in the car. 2 seconds later, cops.
Ah.
They open the door. They're like, "Can you step outside, sir?" I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I'm an immigrant that
Yeah.
barely speaks English. I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "I'm getting deported."
Yeah.
Like, you know, you
And
go
they're
outside. I'm
gonna-
like,
they'll
"What
deport
happened?"
you to Mexico too.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, that's not even the right
I
country,
know.
man. You know? They're like, then he's literally like, that woman said you flashed her thing. And I'm like, what? And all I could say, I'm like, look at her.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at her.
Yeah.
He's like, but is that what you did? I'm like, I didn't know a lot of English. I'm like, look at
Yeah.
her.
Like,
Why would I?
yeah.
I'm like, I have a girlfriend. She's
Right.
like, he's like, sir, that's not the problem. I got like scared straight. Now I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But I think that kind of memories just like, I think
Yeah.
that like traumatized me at 17. So
Oh.
it's like, I'm like scared.
That's crazy. Well, then I guess if we were 17, then she would be a child predator, right? For
But
looking.
no, I pulled it out though.
Yeah.
That's not a child predator.
Yeah, but where is she
Why is she
looking?
looking then?
Yeah.
You should ask her to
I thought it was Chris
identify
Hansen
it.
knocking on the
Yeah.
door. You ever seen that show?
I love that show.
Dude, I love that
It's
show.
so funny, dude.
It's so awkward. Yo. Have a
yeah.
seat. I love the thing where he's like, "What do you have in the bag?" He's like, "Just Sprite, some chips, and condoms." He's like, "I'm gonna go see my mom."
Yeah, I Oh man, that's just the funniest.
Where were we? We got like way off topic.
Yeah, it's probably the Scotch. We're hitting time. So this is the we usually ask a question. You might have seen it on but where it's I'll name a person and then the guest will say where, or not name but describe a person, and then the guest will say what restaurant they would take them in Boston. But since you're a chef, the game is going to be
what would I cook for her?
exactly. So if they come to trade, we'll make this a little bit more personal.
Okay, what would I cook for her? Not at trade.
Okay, yeah. So we have a mutual friend. We're not going to name him, but he has we all know he's got hundreds of
I don't
women.
know who he's talking
yeah,
about.
exactly right. And we'll say when he comes to wherever you are to say, because he usually comes to trade, but this doesn't have to be at trade. It can be at Whole Foods or whatever. If he says, make this girl a dish.
Yep.
Who would it, or what would you make them? Okay. And so the girl is going to be a 5'9" ABG. Do you know what an ABG is?
No. I don't.
It's like it's an Asian baby girl. That's the acronym. But what that means is basically, goes to college at community college, but has her baby daddies pay for a service that does all her work for her, and she has 2 kids.
Okay, her baby dad is paying all the bills?
Yeah.
Okay. I would make her a pan-seared duck breast with sweet cherry, soy sauce, and ginger, stuffed prune, and a little bit of lentils with lemon zest.
Wow, that's so good. That's great. Okay.
Because she's a little fancy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a little bit taken care of.
Yeah.
So duck breast, you know what I mean? That's a little bit elegant.
Yeah, and the breast, because she's got fake breasts.
Yeah, she obviously does.
Yeah.
And, steak's gonna leave shit in her mouth. Fish you gotta pick through. Duck breast she can still eat and still look good. It's not gonna mess up her makeup. She's Asian, so I got a little sweet ginger soy. So she's gonna appreciate that.
Yeah.
A little bit of lentils, because even like she's not gonna eat a lot of carbs. Probably,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
lentils is probably a good way to go.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So what about 25-year-old blonde girl from Arkansas? Used to date a lot of like college football players in the SEC,
Yeah.
but now she moved up to Boston for nursing school. Yeah.
Okay. Where's she from? Arkansas?
Arkansas, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it can be anywhere in the South.
I would make her a burger. I would make her a burger with brioche, but instead of bacon, I would do like seared pork belly on top, right? And I would instead of like lettuce and tomato, I would make like a little cabbage slaw with like mayo, a little bit of ginger, a little bit of like honey in there, a little bit of so there's like a nice crunch to it. And instead of like fries or something, I would just make it like a little side salad, like spring salad or something like that.
So very Americano, but with a twist.
Yeah, like
Show us
Americana,
something
but
new.
she's still a little bit of healthy, but still reminds me a little bit of home, but still something new, like
Mhm.
Boston. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Half black, half white girl.
Yep.
Born up in the New England area, but is now in Arizona, studying law.
Bro, you're going like, okay, hold on. Black and white girl. Born in where?
Born
New
here.
England.
Born here. And then now she's going into like the Southwest for law school.
Oh, this is perfect, bro. I'm going to make her a lobster mac and cheese. So she's from New England. She's gonna love lobster.
Yeah.
She hasn't had it in a while.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese is such a southern thing. So she probably had it a few times. She's craving it. But then I'm gonna do it with like Gruyere. Then I'm gonna make like a brown butter crumb. I'm gonna put that on top. I'm gonna brulee it, and I'm gonna do a little bit like I'm gonna make a very light sauce, like a bechamel, and I'm gonna pour it over the top.
Bechamel, dude.
So
wow.
she's gonna have like a little reminder of home, but a little bit of her new life with mac and cheese that's
Yeah.
heavy, but a little bit of lobster, just a reminder of New England. And mac and cheese, that's gonna remind her, her black side, a little bit, a lot of soul food, but with a new twist.
Wow. Okay. All right. Last one. 16-year-old Abercrombie worker.
Just that?
Yeah.
Just that?
I don't know much else about.
Okay.
From.
Oh, there you go. From Bangladesh?
Yeah, sure. I was thinking about your
16-year-old?
fiance, but
16-year-old?
we can do a female version of you.
16-year-old.
But you as a child, yeah.
Okay, 16-year-old. Chick-fil-A fried chicken sandwich.
You're just gonna make
I would just make it though, you know what I mean? But I would make it with like kimchi.
Oh.
I would put kimchi in there, fried chicken, because Bangladesh is like they really love like the kimchi is our flavor almost, like the fish, the chilies, the cabbage. But fried chicken sandwich was like one of the best things I've tasted in America.
Yeah.
Fried chicken just doesn't exist like that over there. So fried chicken sandwich with a lot of pickles though. A lot of like, pickles, kimchi right in there, and just maybe like a sweet and sour sauce on top of the chicken, and just give her that.
And would you say anything to our friend? Would you be like, why are you with this 16-year-old? Or would you just be like, all right, it's fine?
No, I would say, don't worry about it. In my culture, that's perfectly fine.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
dude.
man. Thanks for having me.
This was a fun time, dude.
This was awesome, bro.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude. You got it all.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Havers. Please subscribe and rate us 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to us. And remember, you got it all.